I guess I have a laptop I could use. Yeah. I forgot we have our laptop in there. I guess I can use it.
It's not too late. You got 4 minutes.
Good morning, good morning. Kathy, how are you this morning? Good to hear, good to hear you. Bill, can you hear us in there?
Yes.
Good deal. All right, Tom, how are you this morning? Okay, folks, there's a strict screen between me and you, so I'll be talking on the computer screen today this
There is one.
It's not here.
Yeah, right, it's just up there.
Yeah, I think you're the answer. Pretty good. Got a few moments before we get started, so. Well, on our Chris Ivory. No.
Want that door open or closed like this?
Might be better closed.
If that's not.
You know, they got you in the closet?
No, I'm in Paula's office.
Okay.
Are you in?
Actually, have one person there.
Hey, Tom, you're making me hungry.
I'm sorry, I had to eat.
I just heard everybody was closed over there.
We are over there. We are.
Okay.
Yes.
So we have to see, so that's sound real very
It's
fast.
not. Training has a basket for that. We can drop on them, still, and drop on. Here we are, boxes out. We can take that. Yeah. We have to. Here, there's lots of meetings there.
So we're off to vote.
Mine has not been.
This is still candy weird. I heard a rumor on that.
It is the same meeting, the link is on the homepage. You go to co.hill.tx.us. County. And then there's a picture of the courthouse, right underneath that picture of the courthouse is a link for today's meeting. You can click on that and take it to it. It's also on the bottom of the agenda. You have to type that long thing in, but it's on the bottom of the agenda. Yeah. All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Number one, I guess.
Hey, morning, David.
And we had the document with the zero. Yeah, oh, everybody signed that one? No, company signed, Montgomery is moving to Zooming here today with us. Everybody know that? Okay. So good time. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'll call this regular meeting to order. It's Tuesday, December 8th, 2020. Things are a little bit different today. This meeting was posted before the Texas Code 3551, Veterans Texas Code Meetings Act. There are former commissioners present. Commissioner Montgomery will be joining us by Zoom very shortly, which is allowed in the current rules waiver. In accordance with Executive Order GA 28, signed by Greg Abbott, Governor Greg Abbott on June 26, 20, amended by Executive Order GA 32, issued by Governor Greg Abbott on October 7th, which also amends the July 2nd proclamation. It directs all persons that otherwise not being agreed to Washington 10. That, of course, doesn't fully apply to government, but we try to comply with it as best we can. So we're taking advantage of the waiver that request of Texas Attorney General for certain requirements of the Meetings Act. In accordance with that waiver, we need the public to make any those of us who speak for a public forum to let us know no later than 8 a.m. This morning. Okay, right. All right. So if someone does want to speak in public forum, this is new. We're going to try to work with everybody. Andy's logging on now. I can see that. Susan, good morning. How are you? All right. So we have all of our commissioners here now. It's wonderful. Well, the first order of business, as well as should be, Patrick, you need some prayer.
Let's go together. Father God, you do love us. We thank you this morning. Thank you this morning for all of the blessings that you have laid down, even in this difficult time. The blessing of this country, the blessing of this state, this county, this community, the blessing of one another, the blessing of reaching out and supporting, and blessing of the opportunity to do your business here today, blessing of the opportunity to look after your people, to look after your community. We thank you, we praise you, we give you all the glory to do this in your most holy and mighty name. Amen.
Thank you so much, Dr. Freeman. Call the pledge of America to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. Thank you all for being with us this morning. I'll give you a quick rundown of just how this is going to work. We're using an application called Zoom that we bought back in the spring. You may recall we held a couple of meetings in the spring over Zoom exclusively. How we're doing things today is a test setup whereby the commissioners, that laptop over there, the camera catches the commissioners, all of us. This meeting is being recorded. This meeting is being broadcast to YouTube at the same time. So you're part of history. It's the free live stream meeting ever. On top of that, we'll have people join us in and out. We'll have Cantrell, the next group, who's running the show. You see Tom Henry, who's currently quarantined with COVID. I think the same thing with Susan with this. It's going to allow us the opportunity to still do some things that we need to do, not do it in government kind of things. And hopefully it won't be too much of a hassle to use. So I need to announce that because of some late business that came up Sunday night, I'm going to have to call another meeting with the Commissioners Court this month. That being on December Tuesday morning at 8:30. The nature of that is the contract we were talking about in regards to Washington, the purchase of the downtown parking. We're ready, the city is ready to move forward. We have a interlocal agreement, but as per our previous votes, that needs to go back to this court. So they're looking to close on it pretty quick. So next Tuesday, we'll get that. I don't think there'll be too much more, but not on that agenda. That it will be set up in the same way. All right, I've got all that out of the way. Is there anybody this morning for open forum? For the record, I have a total of 5 people in the computer and about 4 more in the audience today, and no one has they were here for open forum. So wonderful. We're going to move along into the consent agenda. We have action on minutes of November 22nd, 2020, action invoice of December 8th, 2020, payroll December 14th, 2020, and action monthly report for revenue disbursement for the finance industry package, and in an email sent last night, final package for AP by Mrs. Swilling. We've got that. So, make a motion to approve. Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion with the item? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And Montgomery, how'd you vote? I don't know, they can hear us. Can't say anything, hear us.
Commissioner Montgomery?
Mark. Well, I hate to mark myself that unanimous, if you can't hear us, if you can't see us, that might be a little less than the truth, and I don't like that.
It shows that he's connected, but we can't hear him.
I think we need to acknowledge our page, but you check with your film. Recharge.
Tell him to, if Philip's on disconnect, reconnect. You know, sometimes less you watch play the song you want. Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And I didn't do what I normally do, which is go around and ask them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and lay that out? I know that Marshall came in a while back and talked about using the fairgrounds. And I recommend one of them look around the buildings possible RNK. And then Marshall reached out to RNK grand jury. You know, we pull in a pool, not the actual 12 people make up the 13 grand jury, but the actual pool of people. And she reached out to RNK, they reported the price. We came back and said, no, we're gonna do that for free. That's our civic duty. I mean, just wonderful people. That's the right chance to go over. You can't say nothing good things about those folks doing that for us. So we really, really appreciate that. Thank you for finding that. Really do appreciate it. I guess we go round robin at this point. Break the deal. What's happening in precinct 2?
Well, we need a rain. We're over here for one, but we need a rain bag. Still hauling rock, trying to fix roads and put rock down on the road and move the water and get it. Set it up, but we'll basically get 195. Still trying to lay roads when we can, was making more sure to do it, and painting colors out. And trying to improve the roads as we go.
Good deal. Appreciate it. Commissioner Hawkins, what's happening in precinct 3?
We do the same thing, we're kind of hollow, gets that spot patched up before it gets rain. Taking advantage of the dry weather, trying to clean some ditches. Need some shredders running, brush cutters running, you just don't have enough as always, because people do everything, so everybody just bear with us when we get to it. We can do that.
Understandable. Commissioner Lake, what's happening in precinct 4?
Oh, we got a shredder tractor we need today, and we're trying to finish our back water, we'll be ready for this. That's dry weather, and there's a little sleepy spot, so we had to dig it out, to keep that from being a problem in all the trucks.
Okay. Sheriff, what's happening in your department this week?
For slowly.
Well, on our end of things, construction project, we wrapped up that street signed off on it, we're satisfied that we good. So that's moving along, that's moving in our direction there. The Waco Street facility, I have not got down there this week, but as of last week, we had a couple of minor things to do with air conditioning fence that will be done over there. The project for the stuff was slowed down some by the cold weather, but I expect to be back on building awnings now to hang over that, and that's coming pretty close to completion. And I'm happy to report that they are finished painting the courthouse. So thank you for everybody that worked with us to get it done. After 20 years in here, it was a neat bit of a paint job. So thank you all. I know this place and office can cause some consternation, but I think it was practice and really well worth it. So thanks. Any other elected official on Zoom have anything for us? Tom, you got anything to report? No? Tom says no. Okay, good. All right.
Good
What's
job.
happening in IT, Bill? Oh, he's on the phone. He's on the phone with Montgomery, I bet. Anyway, I said it's gonna take a little bit to get used to getting the logistics worked out. We meet all the requirements of the open meeting act, and we'll be fine. But I did want to slow down for a second while we try to get permission from Montgomery next, because I can't share with who voted present if I didn't see him vote and I didn't hear him vote. So I wanted to give him an opportunity to vote on that, but I don't think we're going to get that opportunity at this moment. So we'll have him as he joins the meeting with the school from there. So right now, just he was not here for that vote. It's going to be my ruling on that moving forward. So moving along then, board orders this morning, and that is discussed and or approved employee wage status changes. We've got a couple this morning. Ms. Allison Gibbon in dispatch, moving on to greener pastures, believe the best. The sheriff's office, Robert White, is moving job titles. He's adding an FTO and acting supervisor today. Chris Jackson is adding supervisor specialized skill pay. Zachary Spagner is obtaining advanced police officer license. I'm really glad to see the number of our police officers going out that extra education. That little bit amount of money it is, that incentive really seems to have done some good. And we're getting a lot better trained sheriff's officers out of this. I appreciate that. Cornelius Hawkins is he transferred from trailer to deputy. Oh man. All right. Well, I get it. But I enjoyed that for you. Like that. Spencer Batchelor, that is so small that I can't read that, but apparently it's a specialized skill pay. Mr. Colton Tanner, clerk. Right. District clerk. Yeah. Okay. We've got Gage Hightower who will work for the county clerk. We have Hunter Watson working for the district clerk. These are all part-time employees. They're dealing with part of the filing, trying to get all the files ready. Government Street to move in, I should say Franklin Street to move down to the end. The court service building. Miss Leanne Kellum, has left the treasurer's office and moved over to the 4-H for office manager. And they are tired of losing employees left and right to CSP. We love people at CSP, but they're proposing a 3% increase, which they can do for her, and I have no problem. They've gone through 4 secretaries in 4 years, something like that. So they need a little bit of continuity there. The secretaries are lower paid. So, all right, that's the wage changes for today. So a motion and a second, discuss and approve employee wage status changes. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Again, Commissioner Montgomery unfortunately is not with us on that, so.
There he is. Look at him.
Hey, Commish,
He's still in bed.
are you serious? Can you hear us? He's connecting to audio.
I can see.
We can't hear you.
I can hear.
If you vote yes, just go like that.
Yes.
All right, good deal. Well, that's one way to do it, huh? All right, so we're gonna move along to number 3 then. Discuss and approve applicants for appointment to Hill County Historical Commission. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped in. Observe report, chapter 59 reports, and government season report from sheriff's office. Again, we have appointed the auditor to the building report or create these reports. She has done so, and now it is our turn to observe and report these reports. And you have it in front of you. Again, these are the chapter 59 season reports, the federal season report for the sheriff's office.
Make a motion to observe the report.
All right, we have a motion and second to observe the report. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
I have a question on that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We've got, especially down there, the support services building, we've got a bunch of old cars and stuff there. We've got some of the sheriff's. How come those don't end up in the seizure report to get rid of them?
Well, I think those are already claimed in the report, but it's a matter of now getting the one thing to see them. The second thing is to get state to actually go through the rest of the paperwork. Some of the vehicles, my understanding is that we've seen it a long time ago, but there's also some, and I'm no expert on this, because I don't practice that area of law. There's some other steps legally that we have to take before we can actually dispose of those. Yeah.
Comptroller's office is involved in that.
I don't
Well, we
know.
don't appear to have current license.
Last time I spoke with Matt in the DA's office about it, and he said, yeah, they know that needs to happen. You're working on it. That's the last I heard. That was
We're
earlier.
going to move down there and leave them out of there.
We do. So, but again, I don't think that's the sheriff's fault. The sheriff done everything they can do. We'll look into that, see what we can figure out.
I think Scott talked to them 2 or 3 weeks ago. They are.
Yeah, I thought so too. I know that Matt told me they were working on it. So, because I asked him here months ago when we started this project, and they had, there's some other stuff that said they're going to try to get through it. So I remember reading about it. But yeah, good question.
Have to have a view on whether it's state or federal, how much proceeds from the share. I don't know. That shouldn't be a whole.
Yeah, like I said, it's just something I don't know a lot about, so I'm going to deal with it. So, number 3, discuss and approve applicants for appointment to the Hill County Historical Commission for the 2021 term. The Historical Commission has asked us to go ahead and get this stuff early this year. Normally we would do it in January, but due to COVID and other things, slow down the work, they wanted us to go ahead and do this. I communicated that to Mr. The Honorable F.P. Bob McGregor, who is the chairman of our local historical commission. He got together with Mr. Lawrence. And they sent us a list, and that list consists of 50 names. And I could read them all, but I don't think anybody wants me to. However, I do appreciate every last one of these individuals, the time that they put towards preserving the history of Hill County. It's been difficult for them to meet. Some of these folks are a little bit older, some of them have health concerns, but they're doing everything they can in order to get things going. I do have to disclose there is no county pay whatsoever on this. These people are volunteers. You'll see my wife on here. Full disclosure for the Aquila area, simply a volunteer position. But since she's on there, I don't have any conflict of interest. Voting line, I can see one, but I've been asking my attorney. Okay, good deal. So that is the Hill County Historical Commission applicants for appointment for 2022 term.
Motion approved.
So,
Motion and second to approve. Is there any discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion will pass unanimously. Number 4, discuss and approve an order to release escrow funds for Hill Creek Ranch. Blake. How they doing out there?
it looks quite good. Pretty impressed with what they've been able to do. I think because the ditches and all that rock quite wrong. It's looking good. I think they have contracts on a whole bunch of them.
Well, Ents tells me we're good to go, so I don't see any issues with it. And legally speaking, I think we're correct. Well, so gentlemen, what the action before you is to approve, discuss and will approve an order to release escrow funds pursuant to the escrow agreement we entered with Hill Creek Ranch LLC in regards to the subdivision of the building listed outside of the coastal protection.
Next.
Motion and second to approve the release of escrow funds to Hill Creek Ranch LLC in the amount of $130,000. Again, this is money they put up, we don't trust until they do what they said they were going to do. Now we're releasing our funds back. All right, anything further? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, abstentions. Motion carried. Ayes have it. Noted. Number 5, discuss and approve agreement to contribute funds to purchase right of way for tech stop. So on 2959, again, west of Interstate 35, west of Carl's Corner, there's a particularly bad intersection. It's almost like a T there.
Is it
90-degree turn. The state of Texas wants to take that to more of a sweeping line L. To do that, they're going to require a right of way. Our portion of that is $850,
which is very well worth it.
I think so too. I think that's a.
But just a copy of it.
Guess we sent the wrong place. That's correct. Yeah, it's the same thing. Okay. Anyway. So anyway, they wish to, TxDOT wishes to rehab that part of 2959, make that a safer intersection so that 93 turns were taking a little quicker and Raymond thought so. That's
Everybody approved. It's like really good in the notes.
okay. Are they going to put safety shoulders on it or?
I just know they're gonna be good. There's a lot of truck traffic. There's a traffic from there.
Oh.
Go down and turn, come all over the field. Turn around.
All right, well, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Gumby, what'd you do? There you go. We're good. All right. So motion carries. Thank you very much. I mean, you can get away with like a bit. All right. This place, discussion and approve bonds. I got one bond today. It's with Gregory Mason. Our chief probation officer. He's doing adult probation. So I would recommend that we approve the bond. Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, everybody's down to all right, so now we're coming on to discussion or action accept rejected replacement of bridge over Hill County Road 3206 in Brooklyn Creek. Surprise, surprise, we had exactly one bid. We had this out for more than a legal period of time. So what we got is Yoder Bridge was the only person that did it. Total cost of that bridge being $204,788. They have a proposal signature form. They have a bid bond in. They seem to have everything, the paperwork in order, and it is one that we received prior. Motion to accept a bid by Yoder Bridge to replace the bridge on Hill County Road 3206 in Brooklyn Creek. And recall, this is part of the, there's a cost match of $100,000 from the state of Texas. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Number 8 is discussion under action of next director of Hill County Courthouse parking lot. So, here for 1 second. Okay. As you'll recall, we commissioned a parking lot study around the courthouse, working with the city, we're trying to do some things to increase parking downtown Hillsborough. It's difficult because we only own certain property, we have to be focused on the fact that they're around us. One of those things we talked about doing is purchasing the washateria and turning that into a parking lot, putting a dumpster over there, make it a safer intersection Franklin and Covington. The other thing we talked about is restriping around the courthouse. Their total plan to restripe, the city wasn't completely on board with, simply because it would basically turn two of their streets into one-way streets, and they won't wait for that quite yet. So we're still having discussions on that. However, and the other thing that we could do is we own now past our parking lots. We can restripe that. So one of the things we're supposed to do is restriping and repainting on the courthouse, refreshing our fire lanes, power washing the sidewalk, and getting that process as part of this puzzle to start to do that. It'll add about 8 parking places total to the courthouse immediately around it. Still leaves them 10 foot wide. It just brings the fire lanes and the yellow lanes into code currently. The other thing we're still working on is the city's on board with this. That would be creating an area between Elm Street and our parking. That would be parallel parking against it. Unfortunately, TxDOT changes engineers, thing. So I'm reaching out to Mr. Scott Boyles, the new TxDOT engineer, Jason Duncan, the last one said they were very agreeable to it. I want to make sure we get Boyles get that in the program, because that is something we want to do, is to put that area between Elm Street. It'll make it safer around here. So people diving off, having this corner, so it'll help ease some of that traffic. Safer on the courthouse. But what I did is I've gone out and I've talked. It's not a lot of people to restripe. We do have a guy that the county to restripe, and I've asked for bids. And he came back with a bid of about $14,500 to restripe the parking lot. And I looked at that and had him walk me through what it is. So where we're at right now is we've taken off about an 8-inch layer of paint, and that's sandblast the current parking space, so that you don't have the old stripes there. Sandblast the curb, power wash through the sidewalk all the way around the parking lot, and then restripe and repaint it. Those stripes, when they go down, it's not a single layer of paint. They're telling me it's multiple layers of paint from some material they put in there to reflect at night, so it shows up. What I'm getting at is that's one bid I've seen. I don't have any bids for this, but before I go further, what do you guys want to do? I'd like to go ahead and start doing something. I've got, like I said, as soon as I get some of these projects done, I want to start doing some other ones. Well, I got to screw the roof off. So you guys are going to go ahead and start doing something about striking around the parking lot. We can start managing that.
If we restrap the existing parking lot as is, it won't have to be redone once we, anything else.
No, sir. That's the beauty of that. So how it currently is, we go to it. It would be striped in accordance with the immediate spaces touching the courthouse, not across the street, not on the island, but just there. What we're talking about, they would not have to be restriped with the rest of the plan. So where we're currently at is the existing site plan. And the existing plan, now, of course, this takes in the island on West Franklin, the island on North Covington, but we're just talking about the area immediately adjacent here. And so as we go, what you see us do mainly is correct the sizing in here, still leave it 10 foot wide because we have a lot of pickup trucks and larger vehicles around here. But correct the sizing in these spaces in front of, for example, the south side of the courthouse, there's currently 11 spaces the way it's striped. When we restripe it, it would create 14 spaces. So on West Elm, there is currently 13 spaces. I'm sorry, currently 12 spaces. We create 13 on West Elm. There's currently 12 spaces, which would be 8 handicap in Covington. We wind up with 14 spaces and 8 handicap on Covington. And then 12 spaces currently on West Franklin, 13 spaces. It's really gated the most on both Covington and Waco. You get the space on the other side as well. But seeing how most of your in-out traffic now is out of West or Solid, that speaks most of that. So that's the game plan. The islands, the barriers, those things, is a conversation we continue to have things around here. And I get the city's hesitancy, I really do, because they have a fire station down here, and it causes their fire trucks to go different routes. So as we work through those issues over time, and we will work through them at some point. Again, everybody's on board with making a barrier around Elm. It's really just how this would work out. You made a barrier at the corner of North Covington and West Franklin. Well, that would basically turn West Franklin into a one-way street. And that would be just head west, one way west. The rest of it would be a security floor on the courthouse. So but I'm asking you to start doing something. We've got a plan, we've had it for some time. We've got some money set aside and capital outlay, budget for these kind of things. And we've done a lot of talking with a lot of people. I'd like to see us do moving. Okay, very good. Second. All right, just motion accept the bid, adjustment of note, restrict parking, amount of $14,500. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none. Call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Montgomery says he's in favor. Thank you very much. I will call him and let him know, and we'll get on that. Start with the parking. Number 9, discussion and interaction on Christmas party. Or this is more of a lecture on Christmas party. So here's where we're at, guys. Again, we have to hold these for anybody watching this in the future while we're talking about the Christmas party. Commissioners Court. The commissioners were designated as people in the Christmas party this year. Obviously, because of Texas forum laws, we cannot hold conversations outside of this courtroom with each other. So to talk about a Christmas party for county employees, we have to, my apologies. That being said, so here's what I've done. I called Tony Usherwood. Tony's going to be here on the 16th in the barbecue trailer. He's going to be down in jail on the 17th in the barbecue trailer. So if you don't get your meal this day, you get it that day. My army of, go ahead.
So Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday and Thursday, yes, sir. We've talked to the auditor about funding for that. We're going to go there. I need to get with the treasurer, but she's got COVID diagnosis regarding meal tickets. So I may want to come up with alternative plans already this late. I'm going to need some help on that. That's not really my forte. But each employee needs to be issued a meal ticket, something like how they can take for. Tony, the other thing is, I know that the treasurer told me she was working on meal prizes. We would have a raffle, from your meal ticket later. I have not heard anything else about that. You guys got ideas? Appreciate the honesty. Well, all right.
Someone else. That's kind of what I feel. This year, just kind of way things are. If it, because it's gonna be hard to do it and not really, super there. Is donated to the door prizes.
Okay. All right, well, then that solves that issue for me. The next thing is,
Maybe just double up next.
I got my little army of cooks making desserts right now. I bought them a 25-pound bag of flour and I don't know, several $100 of other stuff. So they're in the process. And the next week we'll be out of school Friday this week. They've already started baking at night, so they're trying to make desserts for 400 servings. So we've got that covered. Now, what we'll do is we'll have those platters set out Wednesday down here. And the second set will go different dessert bags. That'll go down to the sheriff's office on Thursday. So that should hopefully take care of that business. What else do we need to do in regards to this Christmas issue?
Now, we're really to do this year.
Okay. Any further? None? None? Okay, all right, well, that's it. That's the way it's going right now. Is we got a time here to the Christmas lunch. They'll be here between 11 and 1. Employees will get a meal ticket. They will go down by office, separate, but go down by office. And starting at 11, we work the way up. If I need to make an agenda, prevent mass chaos, I guess we can do that. I'm not ready to move on later. So we'll start talking with offices, trying to get some voluntary when people go down there. Because I don't want everybody down there in line at a food truck because that pretty much negates what we're trying to accomplish here. So anyway, you guys gonna be up here with you guys? Most likely. Okay.
You still want to try to set up some tables, chairs?
I'm gonna try to set some tables and chairs up outside, not inside, but outside. We're gonna set them up pretty far apart. But Wednesday we'll bring some tables and chairs up here to do that. Thursday we'll do the same thing down in the sheriff's office. I'll have Lucy over the tables and chairs down there. That way your guys can get taken care of down there. I didn't want to leave it separate, but sheriff, I didn't see how we could get 200 people through the line in a spaced out fashion one day. So we'll get you taken care of. Sure. Let everybody know we appreciate it. All right, well, that's what I've got. So we will have to take the chairs out of the lawn. Like I said, though, it's going to be by office. We don't want people intermingling with different offices. We want people close together. No offense, we all love each other here, but coronavirus, real thing, and it is really causing us a lot of trouble right now. We need to get under control. So, anyway.
We're going to over 70s.
Yeah, we're great. We're pretty good. All right, number 10, discussion and approve to purchase 2 freestanding temperature scanners. We're in the process of receiving the funds. I need to talk to the auditor later today regarding the funds on the CARES Act money. So we've got a little bit of money. These freestanding temperature sensors are a situation where, well, you guys saw when you walked in. I'd like to get another one for the Franklin Street building and one for the sheriff's office. So they have one back in the jail, so they bring people in and out for easier. It's going to be I don't know the exact amount in front of me, it's about $4,500 plus 2 stands, but we do have the funds for it. I'd like to ask your permission by you.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. A motion and a second to approve 2 freestanding temperature band scanners that are just like the previous ones. The only thing we'll do that is battery pack necessary and also there. So, anything further? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion shall carry. Thank you. Number 11, discussion action to authorize county judge to use property to purchase operating COVID testing center. All right, I got a problem. We need to make some decisions and nobody's gonna like them. I've got a testing center right now out at the fairgrounds. You guys have been great. Help us out. We've all for that. We've got the regional testing center placed here. I think it's a huge boon to county business. We've got doors open. People can afford to get these tests. They're free of charge. And we are now supporting nursing homes, home health workers. We're supporting teachers. Most schools are dependent upon this because their insurance isn't as good as others, and they're going to cover these tests always. That being said, we're going to lose this thing in Christmas. They're going to take it away because the state wasn't funded. I've gone all the way up to Dr. John Hellerstedt. I've talked to John Hellerstedt and John Zerwas. Dr. Zerwas is in Texas House. We run it up to Lynn Pitt, who's vice chancellor of A&M. They have free. They will go do this permanently after the first of the year. Now, does that mean 3 months or 6 months? I don't know. But at least we'll keep it for a while longer. That's the goal. The problem I got is the fairgrounds. I have to hold the county fair. And that's part of our arrangement, having the fairgrounds. I can't have a bunch of sick people out there, a bunch of kids out there at the same time. So I'm going to have to move it. We also have some other things coming up that we have to use that. I have to find an alternate location for this testing center. To do that, means I'm going to probably have to run for you guys. And I don't know what that looks like. We've been talking to James Simmons. We've been looking at different buildings. There's not a lot in Hillsborough that meets the need, quite frankly. It's a difficult proposition. I wish I didn't have to rent a place, but you go to your local churches, they're obviously using their facilities and they have crowds. They don't want to expose them to that, and that's completely understandable. So a lot of the places we would normally use aren't going to be available for this because of the nature of what we're doing. So I got to find some place to hold this testing center because I'm not canceling the fair. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Ms. Getty. I haven't found anything yet. We looked at the old West Haven. It's pretty bad shape. I know West Haven. Forgive me. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Canterburyville out there, and it's rough, but it's a possibility. We're looking at it. We talked to people from the DaVita Dialysis Center. The building's got it on the inside of the mold, so that's no go. Plus, their square foot price is a little bit pricey for here, I thought. The folks down here at Dollar General, they advertise $247, but that's excessive triple net. You get triple net, it goes up to 8 something a square, which is insane for a market. I just didn't see that. What's that? That's your Family Dollar, yes. We talked about reaching out to people with bells, movie houses, but it's so long there's nothing there. Yes, sir.
How about mom?
9,000 to 15,000 a month. Yeah, I just didn't say that out loud. Here you are.
Yeah.
So I need a facility. Here's what I need. I need square footage of the back. And I need it on the I-35 corridor. God bless Whitney and Hubbard, But this is also used by other people, and part of our argument, the state keep this with 35 right here, people drive in all over the place to use it. So I need to keep it on the 35 corridor. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Susan.
Did you talk with Pam Bain at the Hill College?
Susan, we can't hear you over here. It's Donovan. Hold on a second. Go ahead, try it again.
Oh, did you talk with Pam Bain at Hill College? I would think they would have some.
Oh, we don't have any power. What's going on here? Bear with it just a second, Susan. We got something going on. That one's plugged in. Oh, well, that would make a whole world of difference, wouldn't it? If we took this
Susan?
cord. This cord.
Yes.
I would think
Try it again.
college would not be a good fit because you're bringing 400 sick people a day around the college. And this is not just a week-long deal because we don't need to be changing it back and forth. This needs to be something we can sustain for the duration till this testing is over with. So I don't think the college would be a good fit for a testing center.
Well, they have that Vera Martin Daniel Center, and then I don't know what they're doing. I'm sure they're out for a good break. So there's gymnasiums and there's other buildings. I mean, that'd be a possible, something to check on.
We'll definitely check every resource and every avenue, but today I need ideas, but I also need permission. It's hard to go out and represent to a local business that, hey, we're going to do this, but hold on, I got to get some permission. Obviously, any kind of document, any kind of agreement, I don't have to bring back to the court, but I still need the court's, I think I need the court's initial agreement just to even negotiate. That's my understanding.
Is there anything in the old G-Bose building?
Yes, sir. It's already being used. It's kind of like manufacturing out there. Yes, sir. Mr. John. High school. Go high school? Yeah, I'm on Walnut Street. It's rough. It's rough. Thank you, though. You have to get a COVID shot and a tetanus shot. Let's put it that way.
Judge, I got a suggestion.
School. Yeah, what's that, Tom?
What if we tried to see about renting a big tent to set up on the fairgrounds property?
Well, again, there's a parking issue. You have all the sick people down there, people that are possibly sick. I don't want to cover everybody that same blanket. And then the bathroom facilities. That's the biggest issue. Is the bathroom facilities can be used as fair in the exhibits building by all those kids coming in and out. And just for everybody, the fair is not going to be 3 days this year. It's going to be over 5. Without any consultation, they canceled the Prairie Parks Fair. I think that was a mistake, but they didn't ask me how to run it, so I'm not going to get involved. I'm sorry to see if y'all will bring it back next year. However, the folks that are running the back livestock show, they've been in touch with us about what they need to do, their game plans and masks. They spread it out. Animal comes in one day, goes out the next day, it goes out that same day. They don't have huge crowds. Kids are supposedly going to get bracelets. They can only give 2 outs. They're going to try to hold this fair in a safe manner and still not have the crowds out there. But even with that, there's limited bathroom space out there. I have to have a bathroom building in the exhibits building. So you're going to have those 2 parties crossing in there. So the biggest issue is I need square footage. I think I can get away, with 3,000 to 4,000, quite frankly, if it's open space. I think I can get away with that. And then I need a bathroom facility that's work. And of course, it has to have light, heat, air, and cooling. So those are kind of the requirements. It doesn't have to be the prettiest thing in the world, but I don't want to break the bank trying to rent something for this. We could possibly get up to 75% reimbursement from the feds over this. We declared a disaster way back in March, 31st of this year. So that puts us in line possibly. But you guys know how federal reimbursement goes. That's kind of I don't want to give anybody hopes up.
Okay, can I ask one more question?
Yes, sir.
How many days do we need the fairgrounds for the county fair?
At least 2 weeks, 14 days.
How many?
14.
14, okay.
At least 14 days. And then after that, let's get it done there afterwards. Hillsborough Chamber of Commerce wants to use it, and the Wigan Chamber wants to use it. I can just upset them if they don't want to match together. I don't know what they're doing. They didn't ask me. So the odds are, you know, if I could set this off, I don't want to be without that testing center though for 2 weeks. So how do we arrange this? Question. Well, I thought about that at Lincoln. We have parking down there, but we also have people working in that building. If we had to, now what Tom is telling me is the folks at TDM want permanent addresses. We thought about moving it down there for a couple of weeks, get past the fair, and then move back down to the exhibits building and just, Commissioner, we're gonna have to tell everybody else at the exhibits building, sorry about your luck, we're gonna have to hold off because of the pandemic. So the question is, will they go for that, Tom?
Judge, all we can do is just run it past. I mean,
You know,
you know,
like I said, I hate that we've got to jerk people around from here and back over there. But when we took that fairground on all these years ago, we had a duty to hold that fair. There's no way around it. Quite frankly, gentlemen, these kids need some supplements. They need, it's all there is to it.
I think the best facility we have to move it is going to be the Irwin building.
Go ahead, Tom.
With the insurance department,
No, we looked at that and it doesn't have enough space up front, one door in, one door out. So what we're doing currently, the sick or people coming in, riding around to get tested, putting them out another door. So if you and I go in to get tested and I'm sick and you just think you may be sick, they don't want us in proximity to each other. So the whole goal is that we don't rub elbows on the way in and out of the building. So the issue with that one becomes a single entrance and exit in that particular building on that front door, and not quite enough square footage. Frankly, you can come in the front and go out the back door.
Old City Hall.
I have not contacted the city about it yet. That's a thought. Yes, ma'am. I don't have the resources at my disposal to do it. To make it mobile, the state pays the contractor and they show up with a little bit of PPE, but they don't have the ability to, they don't have a trailer, they don't have things like that that I think we need to make it.
Well, with the testing, and they had actually a little barrier, and their final area, and they routed the cars through, so they had the facility back them up. The people were.
Oh, they're not getting out of the car? Yeah, the way the state's running this show, and here we did that up front when we had the National Guard, the first 2 rounds of testing, and Tom got that set up. That was what you call mobile. Okay, forgive me, my specific thing. I was thinking mobile, hey, we're gonna get a Winnebago, go out testing. We don't have that ability. But people doing the drive-through, the state has not wanted to do that. They want a center where everybody's sat down and they walk them through. And I said, we're at the state's mercy. We want funding the contract, not us. Yes, sir.
You would not use the mobile restrooms and put them across from the.
Still have the heating and air conditioning problem. I mean,
what's going on with the Dodge dealership?
Dodge dealership.
They're so, it's so, that's what we're seeing there. And those who got a deal for the change, they have grand opening out there in that right.
I heard that too. Okay, some of the guys look like that.
You know that restaurant.
Which we're on the interstate? No, okay.
Not that building.
I'm getting the slow mo over here, so 2-party slow mo, that's pretty good. Yeah, this is the quandary I have, is which buildings are available around Hillsborough area. Again, no offense to the rest of my county, I love these people, but I need to keep them on 35 corridor, because that's where the population is, that's our argument. Yes, sir.
Doesn't Hill still own the building across from me? On Covington, you know, there's the corner of Boone and Covington. You know, it's a big open building, I don't know what
I
that
thought you sold
is.
that to Skip. Well, Skip was gonna put.
Skip was gonna put the bar over there,
That's what the restaurant's gone.
yeah,
We looked at it the other day, it's next to the Women's Buster. Yeah,
Yeah.
I say looked at it, we talked about it the other day. The restaurant's gone.
restaurants.
He turned them out to rebuild them, and then whatever happened, COVID, he didn't get around to it,
Right.
Did y'all see the dog dealership over there? The dog. Not the old dog.
He's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone,
Oh, then.
He's worried that.
it's flat.
Can't get the other from the good.
No.
He's impossible to do.
I mean, it's, I'll tell you the other part, when they see the word government, on it, everybody doubles the price. And no offense, you know, we got small realtors that do great, they're not, I'm talking about landlords, and a lot of landlords will approach to just talk about basic numbers they would think. And then I go talk to somebody, well, at least 3/3 of that, or if they have that, or 2/3 of that, whatever. Okay. I mean, I get it, people want to make money, I don't blame them, but, you know, you try not to be taking advantage of it, especially with local government at the same time. I don't say that to hurt anybody's feelings, it's just the nature of what we do around here, and how it's actually pursued. So I guess
If you pay to have it sanitized without real good.
we're talking months and, or a couple of weeks, I can call Thomas and see.
I mean,
They charge about.
are they having big events out there?
Oh, that would be something I'd not like to talk about on the camera right now, but I'd like to take it to a later date. Because I got some information last night.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is there something in the evening?
I don't know. Mr. Prudhomme, did you have something? No. Okay, sorry, that's a correction. I don't know. We'll talk about that later.
They haven't had a lot of events over there.
It's difficult right now with the governor's, you know, orders in place. Limitation of capacity.
Maybe that. You know, they can go in, they can go in the front and go out the side.
That's a thought. The problem there becomes parking. But there is some parking, you know.
You know, so you got the city parking.
I can call Cal and see what he's got going on with the parking about that.
I don't mind.
I know Cal offered to help us before with that. There used to be Mr. G's something shack out there,
Right.
but he's kind of using it for storage right now. It'd be pretty difficult to clean all that out. But the deal is, we've got to figure it out. And the next question is, how long? If we find something for the month of January and we move folks back into fairground, you know, we move back into fairground February 1st, February 2nd, whatever the date is. Do we just go tell Hillsborough, hey, we're going to postpone your Chamber of Commerce until we're going to postpone your Chamber of Commerce?
I don't think the projection for who all will be sick after the first of the year, I don't
think it's a good idea to hold them at this point either.
know. So I think we'd be better off moving the testing site out there. Because there could be some liability in the county part of almost people get sick.
Okay, so basically then I'll be looking for something for the month of January for a testing site for about 30 days. Kind of get y'all permission to do that in form of a vote.
Yes, I'm like, motion.
Okay. We have a motion for a second. Second. Motion is second to authorize the county judge to lease property for the purpose of operating a COVID testing center for the month of January 2021. Wow. Is that accurate? Yeah, is that accurate motion? Is what you said. Okay, participation. All right, well, what I'll do is approve, I'll go ahead and go out, keep exploring options and trying to find for that month and bring it back to you as quick as possible because the state of Texas wants action on this like yesterday. So we could act on this as soon as next Tuesday.
So, or we simply do request that way we don't have to bother anybody.
No, I get the idea. Tom, go ahead and ask him if we can move the Irwin and go from there. If Irwin's not gonna work though, I still need the authority. Like I said, I'm the last guy who's gonna spend money. I don't, because we don't have that much to spend. We've been lucky to get some grant funding in. We've been diligent about it, but at the same time, we've got some revenue down in other places. So we don't have to spend a dime on this. I'd much rather do it that way. Okay, well, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Carried. All right, moving on, number 12 is discussing the approved purchasing shelf for the Lakewood Street Support Services Building. Mr. Marshall Eubank, you have the floor. Marshall, I think you're muted.
There I am. Can y'all hear? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I emailed a brief to everyone, I think Saturday. The total cost for the shelving system, if you had a look at it, was $134,179. There's a diagram in the brief. These are a collapsible shelving system. So every fourth one, there's a stationary shelf, so the other four will collapse on themselves. It's 53,640 linear filing feet or inches. So this company, Lindy Stahl, is our salesperson for Southwest Filing, and he's done most of the shelving systems in all of the various offices over the years. Nicole, you can jump in here anytime. Anyway, this will accommodate all of our records to include perhaps some of the JP. The idea is that everything that we have to keep from sovereignty to 1950 permanently, we would set as tightly and as compactly as we can. And then everything from 1950 forward, once we can assure that it's scanned into our case management system, we can get rid of everything but the disposition documents, unless it's got some permanent retention requirement like murder cases, that kind of thing. But in any event, rather than continue to expand, we hope that we can contract. And as these cases are all scanned into the system, we'll start to shrink back so that we could accommodate perhaps the JP's permanent records, those kinds of things. The old shelving system that's at Covington, our plan is to take down the center dividers that are in them and put all of our permanent books on those from all the various offices, tax office, any from our office that won't fit in the shelving system, of course, as organized as possible. But this also is, this company is, Datum is the manufacturer of the shelving system, and we would coattail the TIPS contract. Anything else? I don't know. Any questions?
Tom, this last, will this accommodate y'all for 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years? Good question.
I hope till all of us are no longer gone and have a concern about it. Right now, they estimate that just our office has 38,000 linear feet of files to accommodate. So that's going to give us quite a lot of expansion room, and we can accommodate other offices. Like Nicole's got probate, all of her probate would be accommodated in this system. Any other kinds of cases that she wants to be able to file there, it will accommodate. And like I said, we hope that, you know, as we get one of our records management staff that's down there full time that can scan these documents, particularly as they're requested, then we can start shredding out these large case files that take up a lot of space that we don't need to keep anymore because A, we have the electronic copy, and B, we've only have to keep the disposition document. So, I mean, it's having it all in one space is also going to help us be extraordinarily organized and help us fulfill those requests much quicker. Because right now I'm sending staff between two annexes, and here it's not efficient at all, for sure. So I think the system will pay for itself just in the staff time we waste in between Nicole and I sending our staff members to various annexes.
Yes, sir. So right now, this is like collapsible shelving.
I know, this is actually gonna have.
That
We're
is.
not gonna have a bunch of junk.
No. There is some metal shelving that is over in the Covington Street Annex right now. Nice modern metal shelving. It's not collapsible. It's going to be moved over to the front of one of those sides. There's also the big tones. What do you call the roller shelving? Yeah. There's some. All right. So we don't have the big tones. But for those, they have a special like they're going to go up against the walls. If you look over in downstairs, there's some downstairs in your office, but they're showing, I'm not going to be the shuck boxes anymore. For those of you who don't know what a shuck box is, they used to take these files, trifold them, and stick them in this thing called a shuck about this big, And then you had a special filing cabinet that was pulled out, a really inefficient way of doing things. That's one of Marshall's big jobs, getting that stuff folded out, and preserving it and flattened out. Part-time. But there will be no wood shelves, there will be no filing cabinets down there. Guys, filing cabinets take up too much space. They take up 6 to 1 roughly, six square feet for every 1 square feet of the shelf, 6 square feet. I cannot afford to continue to use taxpayer money to buy and maintain square footage. It's not worth it. So I would rather pay more for the shelves up front. It'll be here for the next 100 years. It's a solid system, it's a good system, it's a solid building, it's a great building. It's set up for this, and then we're gonna have to fight some costs down for delivery savings in the long run. We won't maintain thousands of square feet that we still need to do this with. So, no, I do not, and I think the commissioner, we're gonna set a policy up with Marshall's up for that, but due to the COVID issue, we had some slowdowns, but we do want to set a policy up. We're not going to have Lucio take your old furniture down. You need to dispose of it, figure it out. We're not going to have all the old equipment out of your office down there. We're not going to have miles of junk dump down there. If you dump something down there, I promise you I'll have it picked up and dumped back in your office. We're not going to go back to what we not being other big bodies, business like we did in the past. Marshall has done a great job, Nicole has done a great job. He's cleaned up down there, shredding documents, we need to be better custodian of our records. I know in the past, all of the different resources to do it, but now that we are getting there, so far, everybody's kicked in. No one said they were not doing this. Everybody's kicked in that we're going to do it. The county attorney on the line, people going out, going through, getting things together. And, that's the biggest issue of why we haven't done this before. We didn't have an electronic database. We have those now, paper database. We're slowly building this house one brick at a time. Now that we have electronic database, we can scan those records. We don't get rid of tomes, the old big books, and we don't get rid of anything before 1950. But in 1954, a lot of those records, you don't have to keep the disposition document. We can scan the rest into an electric database. It will be there all over the country, where it's backed up. We don't have to pay to air condition a piece of paper. I'd rather pay for a COVID test than I would for another square foot of storage. That's all there is to it.
The other thing I think that's important to look at, if you look at Covington Annex, the actual amount of records is probably only 1/10 of that building. What we're storing in there is mostly filing cabinets that are empty and wooden shelves and the shelving that's on the side, the old Walmart shelves. It's just, the organization of it is just not efficient. I think with the new facility, with these kinds of systems, you'll see that it'll be far more organized and it won't take up nearly the large footprint that we're taking up right now at Covington. The other thing on funding, Nicole and I both have records management funds that we've budgeted. While Nicole has a lot more than the district clerk's office does. We wanted to try to use those funds because that's what they're intended for these systems. And Susan, we may have to get with you to look at how we do that between our archives and records management funds for our office. I think Nicole's okay. She budgeted quite a lot for. And I'm grateful to her for her help on this project because they're expensive systems. There's no question. But I think they'll save us time or save us money and time over the long haul.
I need to point out, because I want to come back before you other needs, but this is one to fill up less than half the building. The other half of the building is there for expansion. Our biggest project after this would be the attorney's office. They don't have a records management fund, so we're gonna have to help out with that to some degree. But I just want to point that out so they come back later. Hey, you're asking for more. This is a good start. Yeah, this is a good start. We have a master plan that's all towards. But I want to show the commissioners what this is going to look like so you can actually see it, see the value in it before I ask you for the rest of it. Or are we looking at 134? We looking at Marshall, are you guys going to have them do everything?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to go full 157? 150,760, the full amount they've got
Yeah, and so if you look at the move records, the only portion that I think would be helpful to have Datum or Southwest do for us is moving the existing filing system that we have at Covington down to the new facility, simply because it's what they do. They know how to take them apart and put them back together the way they're intended. The rest of it, we had kind of talked to the sheriff about perhaps using inmates to move our records. And of course, between Lou and our staff, the extra staff I have right now, we can start staging a lot of this SHUC project. We'd like to move over to the new facility, so we can get them organized by case number and year, and get them staged. So I think we can sporadically do the move over the next month and a half and get a lion's share of it completed before we have to do the big, huge move when the system would come. It takes 10 to 12 weeks, and with the holidays, it may vary by a week or two, but that's kind of the estimate. Once you order these systems, they take 10 to 12 weeks for them to build, because they're custom manufactured, and then they'll bring them down here and install them. So we've got some time to get more than, I would say, 30% of our records moved over and get them staged and prepared to put up. I mean, we're working from sovereignty to 1950 records first, and then the rest of the records will be much easier to file because they're not in the SHUCs. They're already in flat folders. But Nicole has a number of filing cabinets with SHUCs too. So we'd like to get those staged over there and get them in order, and then get them up on the shelves when they get here pretty rapidly. So some of these costs that they're estimating in here for moving and organizing for us, I think we can save by doing it ourselves.
Okay. So what do you think the total cost is going to be on this then?
I mean, our hard cost estimate for sure is the $134,179. I mean, I'm not certainly going to have them put all of these files up on the shelves. I mean, we'll manage that. As they're moved, we hope to have them organized in box number. So as the box gets over there, then somebody will be there to put them on the shelf in line. So that's kind of the plan.
You've got 134,179 shelves. And we records and shelving, county clerk records and shelving. Didn't really break up. Point that out. Annex, obviously, we need to worry about the 3662 city federal records up there, and not worry about the 1440 because you guys are going to place the shelves on there. So that'll cut 6,000 off of that. So that's make sure we're clear on the record that we're buying here. Okay. Yeah. How much
I mean,
because it is a record, it's part of archive.
This is only about half of it.
Later this year, next year, because we still have other offices. We're not finished. It might be necessary to spend this amount of money, and maybe we can do away with a different shelf. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. I haven't had lengthy conversations with DA yet about his records, what his potential is going to be. He may be able to do a lot of it. I think I don't want the law in hand, but that's also personal preference. His part as the DA has the right to do what he wants to within some reason. At the end of the day, though, I'd be happy to do it. It's the best bet for
Now, edit, and have to come back 10 years and do it.
Well, I hate to tell you that I want to buy those kind of shelves on the other side of it. Yeah.
Because a lot of these shelves are
we get these in place, see what they.
And that's kind of what I'm thinking, we'll sit with someone and get in place. And I don't want to come back in 2 years, but I might come back in this year, in the next budget year, to go, okay, well, here's the rest of the plan, this is how this worked out. Either different or two, not only do something different. But I'm comfortable, showing the total walking through what it is they want to do, where the money's coming from, and talk to these people, then the site visits down there. I'm comfortable starting, but I hate to go whole off until I really see things.
If that's school, 6 months or whatever, and they get them installed and moved, they're moving.
Yeah, well, that's a thing. And so, and it could very well be. Like I said, as we see the project move forward, we may not wait for the last spot from last year, maybe move before that. But I mean, I know it's a large amount of money, everything costs money. Don't get me wrong. But this is going to be an investment in our records in our county for 100 years in the future. And I don't think there's anything wrong with doing it. First of all, other shelters, those funds aren't dedicated to like we are. We have to find those funds and those in the budget to do it, and we do as possible. Again, though, if we can come up with a better, these are my beta testers. They're gonna go in, get rid of their stuff, tear it down. We think we know what we're gonna do. We think we have a very good plan. You guys know when we make a plan, what happens, sometimes throw it out the window. So the goal is to get the testers there and steadily cleaning out all the and go there once it gets time to go dense as well. I just don't want to make sure I buy $160,000 of the shelf on the other side, but I only need $5,000 of the shelf. I'm going to speak on that. So if y'all give me just getting this started, this will clean out most of what they've got. Plus, there's some existing metal shelves over there that possibly are being used brought over that are not collapsible with the actual metal shelving. They'll be brought over. So we're hoping with all that together that we'll be able to fit most of those over there.
We're also going to recycle and use our bookshelves that have the rollers, and they'll be installed on the outer walls, so they won't take up too much space, but they'll also be easily accessible. They'll still, the way we've planned it, we'll still have a 6-foot corridor between this system and our bookshelves that'll line the corridors. I really think if we lay this out correctly in the plan that we have, we can get most of the records on one side and from Covington, and a very few, of the fee offices that need to be closer to an exit door because they move faster. You keep most of those financial records for fiscal year end +4. So they can be shredded at a much quicker rate than other offices can. Offices like the tax office, the treasurer's office, some of the auditor's records, they can go much more quickly than some of these filing permanent records have to be kept, obviously. So I think if we lay it out right, we're still going to have, quite a lot of room left after we get Covington moved, and then 99% of Irwin is going to go up on the shelves, save maybe the Justice of the Peace books that are at Irwin. So I think with the overall plan, once we get it laid out and devise a system for later that accommodates everybody, we want to try to make a map of the new facility so that y'all can see that and what we're going to have to dedicate into buying other shelves. But I think we'll be able to accommodate everyone at that facility with no problem.
Yeah, anytime you found the courthouse stores.
Because you're going to have a 134, 17981 from the lineal filing entries for the shelving system itself. And then you're going to have, they have not moved records and new shelving. And I don't know what of that $8,320 is shelving, what is records. Of course, the record clerk said they're going to use records themselves, and they want the other part to take the shelving apart. And then that's the district clerk, there's none 2,900. So worst case scenario there, you're looking at 145, 448.1. But if they back out and those two numbers where you have moved the shelving records, how much of that is actually the boxes, how much of it is the shelving? Yeah. And that's that shelves we can use.
Yeah, I think the moving of the records is much more laborious than actually taking down the system and moving it.
I said something to these guys, I would approve that bottom amount, 157. They have the money in the budget, they have ways. Anyway, getting. Exactly, and that's my recommendation, is that we do not exceed the amount of $100,716.96. We said, a motion in a second to purchase shelter for Waverly Creek Sports Services Building, not to exceed the amount of $100,716.96. And those funds will be coming from the clerk's archive and preservation record for the county. Guys, thank you both very much for shelter. Appreciate all the time that you put into this. It's been great getting this project moving. We look forward to seeing the results. Nicole, thank you for all you've done. There's a lot of work. Thank you for all the other officers for working on this. I really appreciate it. I mean, it's appreciated. I'll call the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Number 17. Good. All right.
Make a motion, Chairman.
Make a motion. Second. Lieutenant Adjourned. Thank you all for your attention. Great to see you out there. Oh, one thing, gentlemen, hey, is there being particular about that writer program? Telling us, sending me a message. I got this last week and it said November 3rd. It says we got 45 days to tell them we're going to get off that writer program. We'll make everybody a copy of this letter. And you got it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll turn the computer off.